So for today's venture, you're going to need an Arduino, power supply for the Arduino and cable, a servo, doesn't have to be the metal kind, but that's the one I had, metal geared kind, that's the one I had, a female to male cable to connect the servo to the Arduino, an infrared remote, an infrared receiver, and a female to female cable to connect the infrared receiver to the Arduino. Like any good transistor, this receiver is going to have polarity to it. So assuming it's facing you, like the glassy part, then you want your signal, digital 2, to be all the way to the left. You want ground to be in the middle, and you want your 3.3 volts to be at the right. As for the servo, we're going to connect the brownish cable to ground, the orange cable to 5.5 volts, and the yellow cable to digital 9. So I use this Arduino IR remote library. You basically just go to, just Google Z3TO Arduino IR remote. Normally you do clone download, but according to these instructions, you just go to navigate to releases and then find the stable release and download that. It'll download a zip. All right, so just to go through the code real quickly, we've got the servo library, we've got the IR library. We create a class or object for the servo. We initialize it to 0, or we tell it that we're going to be using 0 as a startup. We tell it that we're going to use the second pin for the IR receiver, and we actually tell the receiver class, that we're going to be doing that with that pin. And we also create a results class to store the output from the pin in somewhere before we read the value from the results. We got a serial begin for the debugging, so we can have a serial output. We attach the servo to pin 9. I probably should have had a servo pin up here, but that's fine. And we enable the IR reading. We tell it to start reading. If it does see something, then we grab that value and we print that value in the serial if we're doing debugging. And then depending on what value we see, we do something. So if it's -23971, that's why it's useful to look at what value it gave you. Then we do servo up, we move the servo arm up basically. And if it's -7651, then we move the servo down. And once we've done that action, then we start looking for messages again. So for a simple prototype, I got this small portable battery. It's connected through the power USB to the Nano. As you saw earlier, we've got the IR receiver, and then through here we have the servo, which I taped up with a Gatorade cap, which I glued to the axle of the servo. And I also taped up 2 paper clips onto it so that we can turn the light switch on and off. Obviously, if the idea for this was that I want to make sure that this guy had enough torque to even turn the light switch, because it didn't have enough torque to turn my fan on and off. But yeah, it theoretically could work. The next step would be to CAD up something and then 3D print it.